Imagine being so great that your name is mentioned in a religion's holy book as an instrument of God, and Messiah or Savior of those people even though you don't worship their God. I'm talking about Cyrus the Great. Cyrus II of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great and also called Cyrus the Elder by the Greeks, was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire. Before seeing his achievements, let's see about his birth. Cyrus was born between 590 and 580 BCE, either in Media or, more probably, in Persis, the modern Fars province of Iran. The meaning of his name is in dispute, for it is not known whether it was a personal name or a throne name given to him when he became a ruler. It is noteworthy that after the Achaemenid Empire the name does not appear again in sources relating to Iran, which may indicate some special sense of the name. The name Cyrus means son, or one who bestows care. Astyages, the king of the Medes and overlord of the Persians, gave his daughter in marriage to his vassal in Persis, a prince called Cambyses. They both had a child, Cyrus. Astyages had a dream that the baby would grow up to overthrow him. Astyages had two prophetic dreams in which a flood, and then a series of fruit-bearing vines, emerged from his daughter Mandane's pelvis, and covered the entire kingdom. These were interpreted by his advisors as a foretelling that his grandson would one day rebel and supplant him as king. So he ordered Cyrus to be killed. General Harpagus, his advisor, however, can't able to do the deed, gave the baby to Mithridates, a shepherd. Mithridates wanted to raise Cyrus and gave his stillborn son to Harpagus as the dead infant Cyrus. Cyrus lived in secrecy, but when he reached the age of 10, during a childhood game, he had the son of a nobleman beaten when he refused to obey Cyrus's commands. As it was unheard of for the son of a shepherd to commit such an act, Astyages had the boy brought to his court, and interviewed him and his adoptive father. The shepherd confessed what happened. Then Astyages sent Cyrus back to Persia to live with his biological parents. However, Astyages summoned the son of Harpagus, and in retribution, chopped him to pieces, roasted some portions while boiling others, and tricked his advisor into eating his child during a large banquet. Following the meal, Astyages' servants brought Harpagus the head, hands and feet of his son on platters, so he could realize his inadvertent cannibalism. In another version, Cyrus was presented as the son of a poor family that worked in the Median court. Cyrus the Great succeeded to the throne in 559 BC following his father's death. However, Cyrus was not yet an independent ruler. Like his predecessors, Cyrus had to recognize Median overlordship. Astyages, last king of the Median Empire and Cyrus' grandfather, may have ruled over the majority of the ancient Near East, from the Lydian frontier in the west to the Parthians and Persians in the east. Astyages launched an attack against Cyrus, king of Ansan. According to the historian Herodotus, it is known that Astyages placed Harpagus in command of the Median army to conquer Cyrus. However, Harpagus contacted Cyrus and encouraged his revolt against Media. This mutiny is confirmed by the Nabonidus Chronicle. Astyages marched against the rebel, but his army deserted him and surrendered to Cyrus in 550 BCE. According to the historians Herodotus and Ctesias, Cyrus spared the life of Astyages and married his daughter, Amytis. This marriage pacified several vassals, including the Bactrians, Parthians, and Saka. With Astyages out of power, all of his vassals, including many of Cyrus's relatives, were now under his command. However, this transfer of power within the family seems to have been smooth. Cyrus the Great united the twin Achaemenid kingdoms of Parsa and Anshan into Persia proper. Cyrus's conquest of Media was merely the start of his wars. After inheriting the empire of the Medes, Cyrus first had to consolidate his power over Iranian tribes on the Iranian plateau before expanding to the west. Croesus, king of Lydia in Asia Minor, had enlarged his domains at the expense of the Medes when he heard of the fall of Astyages, and Cyrus, as successor of the Median king, marched against Lydia. Sardis, the Lydian capital, was captured in 547 or 546, and Croesus was either killed or burned himself to death, though according to other sources he was taken prisoner by Cyrus and well treated. The Ionian Greek cities on the Aegean Sea coast, as vassals of the Lydian king, now became subject to Cyrus, and most of them submitted after short sieges. Next he turned his attention to Babylonia and noticed the dissatisfaction of the people with the ruler Nabonidus. That gave him a pretext for invading the lowlands. The conquest was quick, for even the priests of Marduk, the national deity of the great metropolis of Babylon, had become estranged from Nabonidus. In October 539 BCE, the greatest city of the ancient world fell to the Persians. Cyrus the Great respected the customs and religions of the lands he conquered. This became a very successful model for centralized administration and establishing a government working to the advantage and profit of its subjects. In the Bible, Cyrus is famous for freeing the Jewish captives in Babylonia who were taken captive by King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon and allowing them to return to their homeland. According to Isaiah chapter 45:1 of the Hebrew Bible, God anointed Cyrus for this task, even referring to him as a Messiah, or Anointed One, and he is the only non-Jewish figure in the Bible to be called so. Thus Cyrus the Great left a lasting legacy on the Jewish religion. Cyrus was also tolerant toward the Babylonians and others. He conciliated local populations by supporting local customs and even sacrificing to local deities. From the Mediterranean Sea in Hellespont in the west to the Indus River in the east, Cyrus the Great created the largest empire the world had yet seen. Under his successors, the empire eventually stretched at its maximum extent from parts of the Balkans and southeast Europe proper in the west, to the Indus Valley in the east. The reign of Cyrus the Great lasted about 30 years. Cyrus seems to have had several capitals. One was the city of Ecbatana, modern Hamadan, former capital of the Medes, and another was a new capital of the empire, Pasargadae, in Persis, said to be on the site where Cyrus had won the battle against Astyages. The ruins today, though few, arouse admiration in the visitor. Cyrus also kept Babylon as a winter capital. He was undoubtedly the guiding genius in the creation not only of a great empire but in the formation of Achaemenid culture and civilization. Little is known of the family life of Cyrus. He had two sons, one of whom, Cambyses, succeeded him, the other, Bardia, was probably secretly put to death by Cambyses after he became ruler. Cyrus had at least one daughter, Atossa, who married her brother Cambyses, and possibly two others, but they played no role in history. The details of Cyrus's death vary by account. The account of Herodotus from his histories provides the second longest detail, in which Cyrus met his fate in a fierce battle with the Massagetae, a tribe from the southern deserts of Khwarezm and Kizilkum in the southernmost portion of the Eurasian steppe regions of modern-day Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, following the advice of Croesus to attack them in their own territory. The Massagetae were related to the Scythians in their dress and mode of living. They fought on horseback and on foot. In order to acquire her realm, Cyrus first sent an offer of marriage to their ruler, the Empress Tomyris. But she rejected the proposal. He then commenced his attempt to take Massagetae territory by force. Tomyris challenged him to meet her forces in honorable warfare, inviting him to a location in her country a day's march from the river, where their two armies would formally engage each other. He accepted her offer, but, learning that the Massagetae were unfamiliar with wine and its intoxicating effects, he set up and then left camp with plenty of it behind, taking his best soldiers with him and leaving the least capable ones. The general of Tomyris's army, Spargapises, who was also her son, and a third of the Massagetian troops, killed the group Cyrus had left there and, finding the camp well stocked with food and the wine, unwittingly drank themselves into inebriation, diminishing their capability to defend themselves when they were then overtaken by a surprise attack. They were successfully defeated, and Spargapises was taken as prisoner. He then committed suicide after regaining sobriety. Upon learning of what had transpired, Tomyris swore vengeance, leading a second wave of troops into battle herself. Cyrus the Great was ultimately killed, and his forces suffered massive casualties in what Herodotus referred to as the fiercest battle of his career in the ancient world. When it was all over, Tomyris ordered the body of Cyrus brought to her, then decapitated him and dipped his head in a vessel of blood in a symbolic gesture of revenge for his bloodlust and the death of her son. However, some scholars question this version, mostly because even Herodotus admits this event was one of many versions of Cyrus's death that he heard from a supposedly reliable source who told him no one was there to see the aftermath. Cyrus the Great's remains may have been interred in his capital city of Pasargadae, where today a limestone tomb still exists, which many believe to be his. According to Plutarch, the inscription on his tomb read, "O man, whoever you are and wherever you come from, for I know you will come, I am Cyrus who won the Persians their empire. Do not therefore begrudge me this bit of earth that covers my bones." Cyrus was not only a great conqueror and administrator. He held a place in the minds of the Persian people similar to that of Romulus and Remus in Rome or Moses for the Israelites. He became the epitome of the great qualities expected of a ruler in antiquity, and he assumed heroic features as a conqueror who was tolerant and magnanimous as well as brave and daring. In the year 1971, Iran celebrated the 2500th anniversary of the founding of the monarchy by Cyrus. Now I have a question for you guys. Who do you think is more fitting to the title, the Great? Alexander or Cyrus? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to know the story of Alexander the Great, I've already uploaded a video on it. Tap the I button and check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, tap the thumbs up icon, share and subscribe to this channel. It motivates me to make more videos. I will see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.